Hello, hello, hello. It is I, David Stewart. I might sound a little bit different today, and that is because I am using a different microphone. A microphone I intend to review right now. This is the Samson Q2U dynamic USB recording microphone, and I wanted to do a review of it for a couple of reasons. First reason, I've had it for a while. I know how it works. Second reason, I think it's actually a really good entry point for people that are looking to do some multi-track recording and don't have a lot of budget. And I think it's good for that for a couple of reasons. First reason is low budget. You don't want to invest a lot of money into something that you don't know you want to stick with. So I got this for like $50 on Amazon last year, and it came with all the stuff that you need to record. That's another great thing. So it's a really good value. The big reason, though, I think it's a good entry point is that it is a USB class compliant device, which means it's going to work on a variety of operating systems without any problems. I bought this to solve a very specific problem in my classroom last year, which is that the kids had Chromebooks. They didn't have real computers. So I needed to record on Chromebooks, and this plugs right into a Chromebook, and it becomes a sound card automatically and works great on the little web applets that we use to record. So for that reason, I think it's pretty cool. And it also happens to work on an Android phone. I've gotten it to work on my phone without any problems here using a little adapter to go to USB-C, plug it into the phone, plug this into it. The phone supplies all the power, and I can add better audio to one of my videos or just record some better audio right into the phone, which is great. So for those reasons, I think it's really good. Let me go over some of the features and some of the qualities of this mic so you know whether or not you want to buy it. First of all, it is a dynamic microphone, which puts it in the same class as like an SM58 or like an SM57. It's a microphone that does not require phantom power, and it's a microphone that needs to be fairly close to a fairly energetic sound source in order to sound proper. It's not like a condenser microphone. If you don't know the difference between those two, a condenser microphone has a much more sensitive capsule or magnet in it, and usually needs phantom power in order to operate, either 24 or 48 volts of extra power for it to be able to operate, and it picks up sounds much more distantly at a much more detailed level. So what I usually use to record my videos is a Rode NT1 condenser microphone. That sounds really good. You shouldn't expect to use this microphone in the same way you use a condenser microphone. You notice in my videos, you're not going to see a condenser microphone. It's off to the side about 2.5 feet away from my face, but it still records with crystal clarity. If you put this microphone 2.5 feet away from your face, it's going to sound like this, and that's not going to be what you want. You want a nice clear sound. So this is a microphone that you need to put fairly close to your subject to work, or it needs to be in front of a pretty energetic subject. So if you put it in front of a drum line, it's going to sound fine. If you put it in front of a guitar and it's 10 feet away, so if it's 10 feet away from a drum line, it's going to sound fine. If you put it 10 feet away from a guitar, you're not going to hear anything. If you put it 10 feet away from a singer, it's going to be pretty much nothing. So it needs to be pretty close to whatever subject that you're going to use, just like a live microphone would work if you were at a gig. I mentioned an SM58 earlier. This color-wise is pretty close to an SM58. It's as close to an SM58 as I can reasonably say without like having to test the mics and see what frequencies they're responding to at what energy level. I've actually paired this up when recording with an SM58, and there was pretty much no change in color between the two mics. They sounded really close to identical in terms of color. The difference was the output. This one was a little hotter than the SM58, and that might have been because this is just a little bit newer microphone. Let's talk about some of the features of this microphone now that you know what to expect and how you might go about using it. There's actually, by the way, before I move on, there are some advantages to a dynamic microphone versus a condenser microphone. A condenser microphone is much better for picking up highly detailed sounds, but you have to be in a room where you're able to do that without picking up a lot of extraneous noise. I record in a wood-paneled studio, so it sounds pretty good. If you're not recording in a one-paneled studio, if you're recording in a noisy apartment, a dynamic microphone has some advantages because you're not going to pick up as much extra noise. You're not going to pick up noise that's coming in from different angles, only from the angles that are going right into the microphone, which is very good as well. That means that you can record in a noisy environment. I use this in my classroom, which is noisy, and my kids are able to use it with their Chromebooks, so it definitely worked to solve that problem. So this will work. This will sound just as good if I go outside as it'll sound in here. It'll sound pretty good outside. It won't sound exactly the same, but it's going to sound really good if I go outside with it. And if I stay inside with it, or if I'm in a noisy room, it's not gonna really sound bad. Or if I'm in a bad acoustic space, the dynamic microphone is still going to sound good. So if you don't have access to a great acoustic space, the dynamic microphone is still an advantage. Let's talk about features. First feature you may notice is this little green light here. I'm going to turn the light off so you can see this. Okay, here we go. Here's the green light in the dark. Now, this green light tells you that the microphone is on. When it turns red, it means you're peaking it, like this. Okay, sorry if that hurts your ears. Okay, but that's what it sounds like. And when you hear the microphone peaking, it has a pretty distorted little digital sound. And you want to avoid it peaking. So that little indicator light is a good thing that teaches you how to set the mic up right, and you can visually see whether the mic is peaking if it's somewhere where you can see that indicator light. It also has an on-off switch. So if you want to cut somebody off mid-sentence, back on when they stop using Nazi propaganda in their speech. Okay, so the next thing, let's look at the bottom of this. Can you guys see this? All right. There's actually 3 different ports. There's a USB port, this one right here. It's a USB cable that goes to your computer. The other one is a headphone jack that you can plug the headphones into it. It comes with headphones. And the bottom one is a standard XLR output, which means you can run this into an interface or a mixer just like you would a normal mic, and that's how I used it with the SM57 to sort of determine the color. They were both running into the same preamp, and they sounded really, really similar. Also comes with a little tripod. Let's take a look. There's the tripod. The tripod sucks, okay? So it's a piece of garbage. It's really, really flimsy, and it barely holds the mic up. However, the mic clip that's attached to the tripod, not so low quality. It's actually a good mic clip. You can use it on any other more robust mic stand if you want to, and it will work great for that. And actually, I figured out that this clip is compatible 100% with a wireless SM58. So if you ever break the clip, you can just go buy a Shure SM58 wireless clip, which is this larger clip thing, and it'll pop right into it and work perfectly. I've interchanged those 2 microphones without any problems using that particular clip. The other thing that it comes with is it comes with headphones. These are the headphones it comes with. These are the what are these? HP20s, HP20 headphones. Are they good? Not really, but you got to look at it as like a total product, total package. They're like a bonus. They're really, really, really comfortable. They feel great on my ears. I usually plug these into my PlayStation controllers if I don't want to, wake up the baby, which is pretty much all the time. So I usually plug these into my PlayStation controller, and they sound great for that. Are they as good as like something by AKG or Sennheiser? Absolutely not. However, they do sound okay for listening to music, and they do sound okay for doing some audio recording, and they're very, very comfortable. The top headband is super comfy. The ear cups are just really, really comfortable, and it's all made out of plastic, so you can drop it a couple times. It's not going to hurt it, but they're pretty cheap. They're like any $15 headphones or $20 headphones in terms of sound quality. Okay, not very good. I might actually put them on the same level as Beats by Dre. In other words, okay, not very good. And if that upsets you that you paid $200 for Beats by Dre, sorry, you overbought your headphones, or you bought something that looked nice and didn't necessarily sound nice. But yeah, they're okay. So you get a lot of cool stuff for that price, for that $50, and for that reason, I like it. Now, let's talk about one of the big advantages of this, besides it being USB class compliant device. It's also its own sound interface. So when you plug it into your computer with the USB plug here, it turns the entire microphone into a recording interface. So this becomes your microphone for your computer. And the headphones that plug into the microphone, there's a headphone jack and the headphones plug into it, and you could plug any headphones into it, by the way. That becomes the sound output for your computer. And it does one extra thing, is that it live monitors the sound of your microphone. So if you put the headphones on, you can hear exactly what the microphone sounds like when you are talking into it, or when you're singing into it, or when you're playing your guitar. It lets you know exactly what the mic positioning is like, so you can do any kind of adjustments that you want to do on the fly. And this actually has a massive, massive advantage for those of you that are starting out or possibly working on a Chromebook or iPad, and that is that monitoring of your voice or your instrument when you plug into the microphone, that monitoring is live monitoring. It is zero latency, or it's, so low latency that you can't even tell. Latency is actually a big issue for a lot of recording, especially if you are trying to do it with like a web applet. And most Windows machines, you're going to use ASIO to reduce the latency, which lets a program take direct control of your interface. In this case, that's not really necessary. You can use direct sound. You don't have to install any ASIO drivers. You're going to hear your voice when you're singing into this perfectly in time. You're not going to hear latency. And what tends to happen if you're using direct sound and trying to monitor what the recording software is doing is that you're going to hear a delay of whatever's going to this microphone, which can really throw off your timing. So this won't throw your timing off. Most digital audio workstations will automatically readjust the sound so that it lines up after you record it, even though the recording part might have some latency on it. And if not, you can actually slide that over. But the main thing is you're not going to be out of time when you sing or when you play into the microphone, which is a big, big advantage for newbies. You're not going to have to worry about dealing with the latency issue. You can save that for when you get your other more expensive interfaces. Now, the downside to this microphone, this is the one big downside. These arrows on the bottom, a couple arrows on the bottom, they do not control the volume of the microphone. They control the volume of the headphones and how loud you're monitoring what's going in. But they do not control the volume of the microphone, and that's actually a huge disadvantage when you're using it as a USB microphone. Because although you can control the volume in your software, you can't control how close to a clip that you get. So basically, there's no gain knob for the internal amplifier, the internal, digital to analog converter that's in the microphone, which means that you have to do all of your adjustment for peaking, turning that red light on, by changing where the microphone is in relation to the source, which changes the color of the sound being picked up by that source. So if you're trying to mic a snare drum, the snare drum's going to peak it really easy. If you move it far away from a snare drum, then it starts picking up all the other drums on the kit, which is pointless. You want it to only pick up that snare drum really well, like an SM57. So what you would do in a normal recording environment is you'd put that microphone on the drum head, and then you'd adjust down the gain on your mixer or on your interface so that everything lined up correctly. You can't do that on this. That's a big disadvantage. They need to add that in. They need to add gain in on the interface so that you can turn down the volume of the microphone. You don't have to adjust where the microphone is and lose a lot of the subtlety and a lot of the color that you might get, especially when trying to use this to mic up something pretty loud like an amp. The further away you get from the speaker, it changes drastically, not drastically, but it will subtly change the impulse response of the speaker. So that's just something to keep in mind. It's not a perfect solution, but for $50, it's a really, really, really good place to start. It is the Samson Q2U dynamic USB recording microphone. Just so you guys know, they did not pay me for this. I bought this with my own money. So hopefully this is an honest review. It's a great place to start if you're looking to get into multi-track recording and you need some way to get sound out here and to sound in your computer. Thanks so much for watching. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you want to see and what you want to hear. You can find me on the web at davidvstewart.com and dvspress.com, which has more of my fiction content. I don't know where my book is. I usually hold up my book and say buy my book, but you can find the links down below, which I appreciate. And I will see you guys next time. Let me know what you're using as your budget device for recording with this kind of stuff. And maybe sometime I'll talk about some budget software. Last thing, this does come with Cakewalk, which is a budget recording software. It gets the job done. It's a little bit better than, say, Audacity, which is free. But if you're using this on a Chromebook, obviously you can't use that. You're going to use something like Soundtrap or some other web-based recording software, and that's fine. This does work pretty well with Soundtrap, and maybe I'll talk about some of those digital audio workstations in a later time. The great thing about this, though, if you do choose to get it, It will grow with you because of that extra XLR output on there, which means you can use it if you buy a better interface later on. You can still use your microphone, and like I said, it sounds pretty good. It sounds like an SM58. So have a great day, and I will see you guys next time.